so close. Why did INnoVation have to take a second to say hello in the lobby? God. But all right, we're back, folks. It's game number 1 in this best of 3 semifinals. Kicking it off on Acolyte to the bottom left side, we've got the orange Zerg player, Impact.
In the top right, as the blue Terran, it is INnoVation.
Really happy to see Impact out playing, by the way. I don't think consistently churning out 2 cups, maybe I'm misremembering, but I do always like seeing him because Impact, Solar, Buell, although Rip Buell, well, I don't know what's going on with him. Like, these are the core Zerg that we would see in the Olimoleague for a long time, and I kind of feel like they all just disappeared because we had countless weeks of TVP and TVT only. So it's nice to see Impact again.
It is nice to see Zerg. He is the last one remaining as Classic and Keen are battling out. So, yeah, it's nice. Ace to bring up Buell. Sue was trying a couple weeks, but never got very far. What other Zergs are there? Korea, a bit devoid of Zergs.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see Dark in anything. Sue was playing for a while, actually, I remember, but then he's kind of taken off too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he played in like a couple Ballistic Squalls, but you're right, like he's never really been one to play in online cups. Oh well. Poor Zerg, poor Zerg. At Impact, going up against INnoVation, I mean, this guy is kind of a mystery to me. Sometimes he'll be like, you know, like hype and winning like VSL months ago, and then didn't really capitalize on it, so he still doesn't really have much power to his name. Whereas INnoVation, obviously, like, everyone's going to guess it's going to 2-0 here.
Well, my fingers are crossed we see some sort of shake-up. Because the other side of the bracket actually ends up being Zet, as we talked about before, versus either Classic or Keen. If we had, like, say, TvZ here and then PVT down below and then, like, TvZ finals or something, that'd be super cool in my books, but no matter what this comes down to, we're not going to be sitting through too much and almost no chance at a mirror matchup, I feel. I don't think Keen can beat Zest in his current form. But maybe.
I don't think so either. I mean, Zest, he still is a little bit wonky, like losing in the round of 16 is someone we don't expect every now and then, but he certainly is not the inconsistent, just straight up, honestly, like, Code B level guy that he was 4 months ago. Haven't used the term Code B in a long time. Yeah, he's back up to Code S, even if he's not literally in Code S, I suppose. So I don't think Keen's gonna defeat him either, or Classic. But, oh well. INnoVation versus Impact on Acolytes will certainly be a long map game, with INnoVation already going for a 3rd CC. Impact's gonna have to fear the mights of INnoVation's perfect mechanics.
Well, while it sets up for that, big thank you to Bad Rocks for that new sub. $4.99. I appreciate it. If you guys didn't see, there was a huge announcement at PAX, actually. And I think it starts tomorrow, which kind of sucks for us timing-wise. But they're doing this promotion where, for like a month, you're going to be able to sub to a streamer for your first time ever for half off. And that applies to all tiers too, like tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. But the streamer's still going to get the full value of the sub. So that'll be really interesting, and I want to try and push some content with that to see if it's something where, like, oh, we add this to the prize pool, you guys sub, like that sort of deal. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff coming if you missed it from the PAX announcements. Extensions are something I'm very interested in as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Someone suggested just playing the Catalina intro the next 6 days for subs. I think that's some pretty good content.
If I play, because I would just leave that on loop all weekend. Just see what the reaction is. I kind of want to now a little bit.
I mean, what would it be under? Music, I guess?
StarCraft 2 technically would still fit, I guess, because it's an intro for our StarCraft 2 map.
I feel like that's testing it.
I mean, the whole video is about rotating around a map with girls sprinkled in. It's not the girls with the StarCraft map sprinkled in.
Yeah, but it's... I mean, even if a music video is about, I don't know, even if a music video is literally about a game, you wouldn't put that music video under the game category.
Guys, you guys are in chat right now. This is where we vote. 1 or 2, okay? 1, if you want to see 6 hours of the Catalina intro as a test run before we leave for Montreal. 2, if you think it's a really stupid idea. For the record, I'm voting number 2, but we'll see what you guys say.
So many ones. I'm feeling it.
Well, there's no ones here yet. It's still 0-0 in this first game, best of 3, and yeah, Impact's getting away with a lot right now. Not only did he take his natural base, but he's already on 4. His drone count's looking superb. INnoVation's coming for his first attack, and Impact didn't skip army for this. He actually has some queens and lings out. He's got 18 on the way. Like,
wow.
Intercepting this should be fine.
The fact that INnoVation got to a double medevac drop with Stim off of a 3rd CC really quickly, I think might surprise Impact here. Actually, no, he's a Ling and an Overlord, so he's gonna have units, but I was like looking at the ban list timing. Nah, he's fine. Enough Lings will do it. And a Sport Crawler and Queens. INnoVation doesn't even want to bother.
It's just like, nah.
Nah, how about no? So Impact does do fine. He's on 4 bases, 67 drones. INnoVation also doing fine. 3 bases, 60 SCVs. I'm interested in Impact's continued development of Overlord drops. This is his 2nd one now, and I thought I saw a 3rd one, but I think it is just 2.
Oh. So, sorry, Badrox is explaining how he like unsubbed because of money and came back. And that's cool, dude. Welcome back. I was going to actually mention, this reminds me, I met someone at the convention this weekend who told us we were his very first sub before he started streaming, and I was like a mid-sized streamer type thing. That's kind of cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Queens actually have a hell of a time reaching those medevacs. If they take out the medevacs, the drop CC to deal with, but Impact's getting stuck in that Sim City that is the mineral lines, unfortunately, and this is proving to be a pain. Banlings were coming, but as you saw, they diverted away because he also saw this attack coming from the right side, and this is just... Impact never cleaned this up. He doesn't have an appropriate response on the right side. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place, frankly. I hate to use that phrase, but it's so appropriate for what's happening right now.
Not quite dead, but dying. This was very not good. He's gonna respond too late. INnoVation's just gonna leave after clearing up all the creep spread. There was a cool Baneling drop that killed 6 SCVs and got many more very low, but didn't actually kill them. Look at all those ones.
That's a lot of ones. Okay, okay. So what we'll do is instead of vodcasting the Olimoleague, when I go to sleep when this is done, I'm just gonna put the Catalina intro on repeat.
Yeah.
And see how that works.
Mean, it's background music for all the people playing GatherBot.
On repeat, it's like a 30-second clip of the same song.
It's the best part of the same song, okay? It's fine. Everyone likes the chorus anyway.
That's fair enough.
It's an amazing song.
I don't agree with this idea. I feel like we're gonna lose subscribers over this, but all right, we'll do it. We're crazy like that.
If Fear Dragon doesn't lose subscribers, or Twitter followers that is, over his puns, then we'll be fine.
I have a hard time with that, by the way, because I respect the puns more than I respect the man. No offense to Fear Dragon, by the way, guys. I'm not saying I disrespect Fear Dragon. I'm just saying I have so much more respect for his puns.
There's a better way to put it, damn.
Well, clearly, as recent events have proven, PR is not my strong point.
That didn't need recent events to prove.
Wow! Dagger through my back. Does the J and Jessica also stand for Judas? Like, Jesus.
Actually, I have the same initials as a lot of backstabbers of history, or people have gotten backstabbed more accurately, I suppose.
Julius Caesar, Jesus Christ, Jessica Chernega.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm sure he's gotten more mutes than he's gotten blocks, so it's not really fair anyway. Oh, God. INnoVation coming up with the Swift's killing force is up 30 army supply with 2-2 upgrades. Well, Impact's with the finish zone. Not a lot of splash in this.
I'm really worried that there's just not enough banlings, frankly. INnoVation, he would have to clump really badly to get all those hits in. He's got the Marauder sitting on the front line. Liberta's helping take care of him too. Mutas might be able to clean up what's left.
Yeah, I mentioned at the last second there that there wasn't a lot of splash, so Impact might have been okay, and in fact he was. Now only down 10 army supply, pushing INnoVation entirely back on a very long map. He's gonna have to kind of regroup and restart.
INnoVation's gone for Thor's 2 behind this, so he might have a way to help combat the mutas. As we can see here, 2 turrets. They're not even really in repair range. Those won't last very long.
No. Those are like very like TvT anti-drop turrets, not mutas. Interesting. A lot of those TVs were also low from the earlier bailing drop, so a double drop has to come in response, but it's enough mutas to snipe. Medivac immediately.
That was such a quick reaction out of impact, too. That was really well done.
This is some serious damage. Apparently 12 Lings also went down. No, or not Lings, sorry, drones also going down to a Liberator. Just the one, really? I guess so. Okay, well, 14 drones from a single Liberator.
Yeah, just gets to set up. Sorry guys, I was looking for it, but I was watching that Thor too because I wasn't sure if it would get out Magic Box by the mutas, which it did, unfortunately. So, some payback damage is always good, but it's not like a 1-to-1 ratio here. Like, INnoVation's actually still fine because, yeah, as we see, he just drops the Mule Hammer to make up for it. Planetary Fortress going to be well guarded. More SCVs will die, but honestly, we're getting to that point where INnoVation might be okay with this because it starts freeing up for army supply. You're on 4 bases as Terran, you got a bunch of mules. Losing SCVs, not the end of the world. You want more army. And he's going to catch a lot of the mutas.
That is devastating. Impact's game plan really revolved around those mutas continuing to buy time and do damage and being cut down back to actually still 15, but I guess there's only so many on the front lines. It's still bad news. He's down in upgrades. He's at an increasingly inferior army. 3-3 now done. INnoVation needs to consolidate, though. This is not all of his army. So much of it was kept in the main base to help defend against the mutas. So this gets cleaned up. INnoVation getting a little overeager trying to end the game here. Really should have waited for this other task force now at his 4th base.
Well, this fight, actually, I'm so surprised to see the mutas get anything done, considering how badly they were ravaged before, but the links around here is not bad. No banding support means they can't really crash through, though. Marauders, as we can see, are just living through all of this. The medevacs, the healing, the +3 armor, it's all too good.
Oh, INnoVation is now quite up in supply after taking that engagements.
I thought this was a drop overlord that just had, like, empty cargo. No, it was just basically a dead overlord. Two bandits gonna sneak through with the depots are down. That might get some nice kills here on the SCVs. Still, though, I don't think the economy from INnoVation is gonna take too big of a hit from this. That was an excellent banding hit.
Oh, these mutas are clumping up really hard, and here come the rest of the Marines.
Oh, I thought you got muted out for some reason. Oh, you're back. Hello.
Okay, GG.
Yeah, let's go ahead and reset the Discord call. Fix this up before we hop into the next game. That's really awkward. I saw her mouth moving, guys. She's just like, blah, 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 but no sound was coming out, so I didn't know when to interject. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Dude, it's so weird looking into the camera and seeing my door open behind me. Like, I've literally not been able to do this since I moved in here.
That's when the max murder is gonna become up behind you.
Dude, oh my god. So my friend Lynn was house sitting for me because like I didn't want the crazy chick to come back while I was gone, and she cleaned for me, which I didn't ask her to do, and she baked me cookies. I came home and there's like a plate of cookies on the counter.
She should have been best,
right? Need to marry that girl. All right, INnoVation and Impact going to Ascension to Ire next. Oh, can I get the intro this time around? No, I can't. I'll get it for the next series. Actually, I can just do it now in the background. Preview. Editor. Where did I save these to? Okay, well, maybe I can't do this, guys. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. We're getting into game number 2 here. Kick it off. To the bottom right, we have the orange Zerg player down a game at the moment. It's Impact. Is he on a team right now?
No, I don't think so. In the top left, as the red Terran, also teamless, it is INnoVation. There you go. I heard a sharp intake of breath and then silence.
Yeah, I was I thought I had an important message on Skype, but I clearly didn't. Go to bed, Cullen. Not interested.
Alrighty then. Well, Impact tried to bring back a pretty terrible game, honestly. I mean, he lost the 4th base. He lost a lot of units defending double-pronged attacks up against INnoVation in his, perfect macro game. It was a hard-fought battle that looked better once his Muta count got higher, but obviously, they just doesn't have the same potential that Muta's had in Heart of the Swarm, I feel, for actually providing that comeback with 40 of them constantly running around. Things have changed. Pushes are more aggressive. INnoVation not ever really letting up. Sometimes that's a bad engagement even, but obviously his macro followed through. Thank you to Hacksaws for the 12-month resub.
I was just gonna get back to I don't know. Okay, so when you cast in ballistics, you got all the cranes over there. What's the Zerg ratio? Is it about the same for an Olimoleague? Not many.
I'm sure the first 9 or 8 weeks of it were a lot of Zergs.
Okay, I meant specifically yesterday or earlier.
No, the last 2 weeks have been Terran dominated.
Okay, same as Olimoleague. So I was wondering, question mark here was like, we just saw Impact do mutas, and we've actually seen Impact do mutas since like HOTS. So I think it's like a specialty to him, but Hydra Bane became such like a strong and like reliable composition. I'm wondering if Impact will stay away from that, or if that was just like that one game just now.
I think it's more typical for Koreans to go for mutas anyways. If there ever was a region to bring back mutas or show that they can still be used, it seemed to be Korea. And even the foreigners who use mutas usually try to replicate Korea, like Scarlet, for instance. So it doesn't surprise me that he went for it, but it also might have had to be the map. Acolytes has that hanging natural base that is just so tempting to build mutas for, and it's a very large map that they can actually get the time to counter and do what Impact is doing. So as we get into these other maps, if INnoVation loses here, for instance, and then chooses Mech Depot or something like that, maybe Impact does go for Ling Baneling Hydra.
Does anyone pick Mech Depot?
Yeah, Terrans. Well, actually a lot of people do. Zergs, it's not really that bad. It's a pretty good map.
I like it. I like seeing games on it, frankly. But I feel, and I could be wrong on this, I just feel like it gets vetoed more often than not for a lot of the other stuff we cast.
There haven't been vetoes in a while, it feels like.
I guess not not picked as the losers pick map. Yeah.
Well, when you have 3 obvious choices, Ascension, Odyssey, and Abyssal, it's like...
lesser of all the evils.
Yeah, but I definitely see Mech Depot enough. It's Interloper that is like chosen the least, maybe.
That surprises me too. Interloper is like the spiritual successor to Terraform or Terra Nova. No, Terra Nova's TV show. Terraform was the map, and that map was picked all the time when it was in this map pool. But oh no, Impact. He's doing a good job actually with the drone pull. The way he's done it, he's managed to corner the Hellions. This will mitigate damage, but as we can see, still losing drones for it. And 4 drones for 2 Hellions. Not a terrible trade for INnoVation.
Yeah, it took a long time to clean up. And it's kind of funny because it took so long.
Cloak Banshees to the follow-up to this too. I mean, granted, again, last time I was casting was mostly like around the 2v2 tournaments. And watching Beastie go ham with like Banshees, I believe that like INnoVation could probably pull off the same tactics.
Who went ham with Banshees?
Beastie, remember? In the 2v2 tournament where you like 1v2 to laser / Hearthstone?
I forget why the Banshees are so effective in that game, actually.
Just see if
you
you control
them. Hellbat push? Or is that versus Protoss? No, laser. I don't remember. I was gonna say, like, I remember watching a lot of Banshees do a lot of damage versus Protoss, specifically if they're in proxy, hidden, or just simply a surprise, but I feel like I haven't seen it do a huge amount of damage versus Zerg. 2v2s are an oddity. And Archon mode too.
That was actually a lot of fun. I mean, I don't think Archon mode's gonna be normal as far as tournament casting, but that's kind of fun to do after like a year of not doing it. Especially just like the hype of BC 1v2ing because Nurcho goes AFK.
That was pretty cool. There is not a Spore Crawler quite yet, so the Banshee took an indirect path. So, just in time for the Overseer as well.
So, it took a drink from the same bottle as the path.
took a same drink.
Indirect hits, indirect path. Weave jokes, guys. They're normal. They're cool. Deal with it. Which, oh, by the way, this Banshee is... I thought it was going to get picked up by those 4 queens over here. They were so perfectly parked for it, but it actually gets all the way to the main. Still detection, but...
Yeah, I mean, this is some damage, and a Banshee, I think, properly controlled can always get, like, 5, basically, just before it dies. But, Impact seems to be on top of things. Going for Hydras in this game, and a Baneling Nest, so there you go.
I like it. Yeah, Acolyte maybe was just the map that was a little bit more attractive to mutas on. Impact's a player who, I think when we were watching him at his finest, we saw a combination of like this really cool 2-base muta play, right, versus Terran back in like HOTS when he was really, really bringing it hard. And what I really liked about that was he was able to macro well out of it while still microing hard with the mutas. I don't think Hydras provide as much micro potential, but I think it'll play well to the strength of Impact's macro abilities. So that's why I'm excited to start seeing, like, for example, the macro hatch right here at the 4th, and all the additional queens being plenty of injacks, and eventually take that 4th base. But for now, a couple lanes, kill some SCVs and run away. Now he's got to deal with the attack on the front line.
Which he deals with perfectly. He had Banelings available, and his upgrades are about to finish up anyway. So INnoVation, not looking for very much, just picks up and leaves. With the Banshee openers, attack was a little bit more delayed than last game, so I think last game at this point he had that second attack running into the 3rd base. Yeah, not so much this time, and Impact even was prepared for the possibility as 2 medevacs do head over to the 4th and unload to try and snipe it.
Yeah, no super sweet tanks or anything to join them, no Widowmines, just Marines, so these will probably be pushed off. Baneling speed is about to finish in 3 seconds after all. The Hydra speed will be nice too, because of course it combines the upgrades that used to be, so now these Hydras are way better, and the Banelings have speed, plus a little bit of health.
That's true. Never forget. Buff 2017.
Yeah.
Don't remember the month.
Someone in chat wants to know when the Archon tournament's going to happen. Not going to happen, unfortunately. But we did get a small treat of Archon mode in the finals of a laser. Nurcio versus Hearthstone, or... The BC, no, I mixed up the teams. Point is, we had the 2v2 tournament recently. It was great. And we finished it off with an Archon show match sort of thing at the end. Ooh, nice snipe on the Baneling.
Don't see these rocks broken down a lot, but INnoVation looking for another pathway through the map to Impact's 5th, or 4th actually, I can count. Now INnoVation, sometimes you'll see expansions towards the north for both players, and that actually gives the Terran player a pretty fast path to, for instance, Impact's 5th could be. Now going towards south, INnoVation might expand south while continuing this attack, and I'm not sure Impact really considered this possibility. I would say this is the last place their players are spreading their creep, because it's just usually everywhere else that the Terrans are attacking.
Yeah. Not often do you need to go up this ramp at all, frankly, but he does beat the Banelings off of creep, and Marines come in from behind. Banelings catch those guys from behind, however. Wonderful hits out of Impact. This actually stops INnoVation's attack, sort of, but I think the medevacs might just prove to be a little much. Yeah, he's going to pick up, get out of there, though.
Yeah, upgrades are about to finish up for Impact. INnoVation is a little bit slower to it, and there's just enough Hydras. Of course, Hydras have trouble chasing medevacs when there's a lot of terrain to account for, and they are able to escape no problem. But INnoVation does expand to the south, with the 4th now looking to be a planetary, denied by a couple links.
Yeah.
Delayed.
I like the Infestors coming out of this too, by the way. Impact's got a lot of cool things going for him. The Hydra's the dynamic to the medevacs too. You're right, they can't chase like Mutalisks can, but man, if Hydra's getting in range of a medevac, it's dead, like straight up.
Liberators. Both Liberators almost die there. Not a lot of splash. They kind of, forgot about the tanks, didn't really care about Widow Mines, just going for bio and a couple of Liberators now, looking to overwhelm Impact. And while Impact is transitioning to Hive, that is one weak point. Could be a problem, but INnoVation pulls back, clears up some minor issues like a Ling on the 4th base. He's actually pulling so far away from that building 4th. A huge Ling run by is going to be able to get the cancel.
Yeah, at this point, INnoVation might as well just build this elsewhere and flood it over.
Okay, Ling saves it again? Really?
1 health on the SCB, it doesn't get focused.
Ah!
But the command center dies straight up.
Oh.
This poor SCV sitting there with 1 health. No, don't build it with the 1 health SCV.
That's what I want. There's to finish that command center. Oh, well.
But I want to go back to the topic of no splash you brought up. This is kind of interesting because at least I would argue, oh, there's going to be a lot of Marauders. They can soak the hits. They can tank the Hydra damage. You know, you can deal with no splash if you've got enough units. But that's not going to be the case here because there's going to be Fungals. There's not enough Marauders for the front line. All these Marines are so susceptible to the fungal damage, much less any Banelings that get to connect as a consequence.
Definitely needs more Banelings. They're in the back right now. There's another group of Marines once again rallying forward. Do you think that's on purpose? I feel like that's not actually on purpose.
Yeah, I'm starting to think like maybe the AI is getting bugged out here on the map or something, but still, INnoVation takes a pretty good fight. A lot of Banelings still left, however. Getting focused down, getting killed. Picks up in the medevacs. Loses some to the Hydras. Hydras now dying to the Liberators. This trade back and forth is starting to favor INnoVation.
Richard tried his best. Yeah, that one Liberator got a lot of shots off. It's still alive, getting way too much damage done when the Hydras are literally right underneath it. Finally gets sniped. INnoVation has to pick up. I feel like INnoVation would be winning these games right now if he didn't have that weird rally to the middle.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely with you with that come down the middle. But also, look at the resources lost, right? This has been so costly for Impact to even take defensive fights. Sitting there like almost 4,000 minerals in the hole. Or resources, I should say, because that's gas as well. But nice little run by targets down the mules. I like this. Mules are quite valuable to Terran players.
We have Vipers on the way. Definitely considering abducts for the growing Liberator count. I mean, these Liberators are coming out almost as if it's a TVP. Now 4 at a time. They never got range, but sometimes that's a choice. More Liberators or more effective Liberators.
You know, I think abducts are going to be great because of how small the Liberator number is, but honestly, like a fungal Blinding Cloud combo wouldn't be too bad to tear through that bio as well, especially if he's trying to force a fight off creep.
That's a good point. Well, INnoVation, eager once again in this game to end it, has kind of lost some momentum. That happened last game on Acolytes, but he was able to keep Impact on layer-based tech, take out his mutas. This game, very different. Hasn't even stopped this 5th base from getting its saturation. Nothing's really gone that direction since minute 7, and that is potentially a problem. INnoVation also expanding is matching the late game.
That Ultra does not have chitinous plating, so as you can see here, taking some pretty significant damage.
Oh yeah. And they go the abducts. There's still some Liberators sieged up, and the chitinous plating wasn't done, but massive fungals on the army that was all clumped up. Even more fungals going down.
Ooh.
Barely not able to take out the last Ultra.
And look at that production tab too, by the way. It's in a very funny way, it's matched, but I still favor Impact when it comes to remaxing like this. INnoVation has to remake those Liberators. Not easy, not fast. It's only got the 1 starport.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yo, some bits coming in from Carefree Rogue. We know who that is. That's Brian. What's up, dude? Thank you for the bits.
Hi. Alright, so Impact has dealt with the Liberators pretty effectively with the abducts. Only a couple of them managed to get more than a few shots off. But also adding in that Spire into a greater Spire. INnoVation realizing that he might be losing out in late game TvZ despite his early access to Liberators is going to start dropping. Realizes that he can't just rely on maybe taking a good engagement because that's not even happening. He also has to make sure Impact doesn't explode the economy. They get increasingly difficult to expand.
So I'm actually...
Go ahead.
I don't think Liberators are the way to go here, and whether it's tanks or maybe a couple Widow Mines for the Banelings, I mean, I kind of wish we'd see something else out of INnoVation, but INnoVation is a guy who I've seen win a game against Ultras with pure Marines, so it's hard for, like, I'm very skeptical here to say, like, he's in trouble, but I don't like his composition at current.
I would definitely like him having that Liberator range, because at least gets, literally 1 more shot is a lot of damage from Liberators, and that is sometimes worth. That's 1 more shot before the abduct comes in or the corruptors get in to kill the Liberator or something like that. So I wish we would get that. I also do agree with the splash. We've seen INnoVation play really late game TvZ still with Widow Mines and Liberators, and that isn't really helpful because a lot of the times it's not just the Ultras, it's the Lings and the Banelings.
Yo, what's interesting about these abducts, they didn't actually net a lot of kills. The Hydras are kind of far behind. But it did unsiege the Liberators, so it took away that threat to the Ultras, which was kind of cool to see, but cutting down the middle of the map best he can. Ultras are still getting torn apart. More Liberators reinforcing in. I didn't realize Impact made the swap to Corruptors, but I love this move. INnoVation doesn't actually really have an answer to the Corruptors.
This was a very awkward engagement for Impact. He, as you said, like, the Liberators didn't actually die, and he continued to run only Ultras, which means they were all getting attacked with Liberators, not, you know, useless things getting attacked. He's lost quite a few of them. They're still continuing to get AI'd out, get killed by the Bio and the Liberators yet again. He does manage to save his 5th and is on a 6th, but that could have been better from Impact.
That micro, by the way, the top right, while this was going on creep, was pretty sick to see out of INnoVation, too. So the Corruptors... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
He managed to get that 6th base up as a planetary and is even getting building armor. Like, this is getting a seriously late game. Is he ever going to add on Ghosts or Liberator range?
I love that it's armor, considering how many times Lulling run-bys have caused him grief this game. But I was going to just quickly comment, like, there's really no answer for the Corruptors. Marines are going to take so long to shoot through them. These can just fly in. I'm not even concerned about them killing Liberators so much as killing all the medevacs.
Yeah. I mean, he's actually going for the so many Liberators approach, I guess, which is like, I literally have too many Liberators for you to abduct, and that's actually what's happened here. The Corruptors also not taking them out super quickly, but the problem, of course, is that Ultras eventually do run through them all, and the Bio cannot take that on, especially coming with
the Fungal!
Very nice.
These have been really expensive engagements for both players, and INnoVation, I don't think is dead yet. Impact actually doesn't have enough to push through without link support or something, right? But yeah. Impact's also, I'm a little more worried. His production at some point, I think, is not going to keep up with INnoVation's. He's not injecting on every hatchery anymore. A lot of the queens were brought to the front lines. In fact, I don't even know if he has any queens left at this point. No, he doesn't. So there are no injects going on while any of this is happening.
That is a good point, but with 7 hatcheries and access to Ultras, which are very expensive, I'm going to guess it's not a potential problem.
Well, the reason I bring this up is actually not because of the Ultras. It is distinctly the lack of lings, right? Like, once those lings and banelings run out, the Ultras have to keep pulling back every single time, unless there's like a fungal good to go. So without some sort of quick reinforcement, and that's where the larva gets eaten up quick. Even on 7 hatcheries, you can run out of larva pretty quick making lings at that capacity.
It's definitely a fair point. And we have seen, even with injects continuing to be pumped into hatcheries, Zerg players just seemingly underestimate the power of support for those Ultras, so it's definitely worth noting. I think even Impact realized he got like 1 more queen, 2 more queens, so he has a couple of injects, but
The economy for both, I'm astounded to say, I don't think it's dropped below 2,000 for either player this whole game. Like, the income for the minerals has been just insane. Turrets, I love the turrets. These will help ward off those nasty Corruptors.
Yeah.
Detection for the infestors too.
Yeah, that one's gonna die. Or scan goes down too. We haven't seen Broodlords at all either, and there hasn't been any Viking presence. I mean, there's always the option, because he has 2 starports with reactors, clearly building so many Liberators, but that's definitely something Impact could have invested into.
Yeah. I know for a long time Snoot was bringing Broodlords to his late game composition over Ultralisks versus Terran, so they definitely work.
I think they're a good accessory, but instead going for more and more Ultras, I mean, that could work as well. I don't know, I think INnoVation is getting the upper hand just with how many Liberators he's managed to get every time they've all died.
Yeah.
How many in total have died? 30 Liberators! Jesus.
They're leapfrogging like 3 at a time too, by the way.
Oh. Well, I think the Ghost Academy would actually be the nail in the composition coffin. Impact is having trouble against a ghostless army, is going to have a lot of trouble versus these set-up defenses with ghosts. Not going to be able to break INnoVation. I guess he'll break his 3rds and 4ths, yeah, sure, but not his new bases.
INnoVation took this base, by the way. I thought he's just setting up turrets for the sake of setting up turrets, but to create some Sim City. He's going to have a planetary, ideally, to work with here, but he pulls back to deal with these attacks on the other side of the map, because 20 SCVs die, and production's starting to go down.
Well, he doesn't actually have to pull back everything. He realizes it too. Now coming back to save this base and all the Sim City that he set up, I think he will be able to. So, there's a Baneling bomb on the ramp, I didn't even notice. That was cool.
So, that's my bad. But I was going to quickly note, there's actually it occurs to me that the amount of Liberators he's invested into, at some point, like, he could actually maybe consider taking on the Corruptors. When you've got enough splash damage, it actually works out as low as their shots will be doing.
That was a pretty important timing, by the way, on Impact's run by. So I was talking about like kind of unimportant bases going down, but it's now also killing production.
He killed the Ghost Academy.
Yeah, he killed the Ghost Academy, and he killed the barracks that have tech labs on it. So the Ghost swap is no longer on its way.
I love that Impact just ran away from like 5 Marines.
Run! This will be kind of down. Corruptors can't really help.
Well, they'll make sure there's no medevac to scoop them up and run away. Take out the Liberators too, best he can. The Liberator game has been insane this game. You brought up 30 a few moments ago. We're up to 35 now, and still counting with these Corruptors taking them down, but Marines will push this back.
Yeah, there's been no added armor on those Corruptors, so while their base is pretty good, Marines will take them out with 3-3. I was going to mention Thor might be useful to have. Those Corruptors are always clumping on top of those Liberators.
And even if not for the splash, the single target could take them down too.
Yeah, Thor's really not too bad to have. It's not like you get one Thor and you're like, well, they're just worthless against the ground composition. Like, they pack a punch against Ultras. Uses against the Lings, sure.
That, and they could just be body blockers for those poor Marines.
Yeah. A little bit of
I can't believe he just transferred these over here, by the way. How did you make that happen?
Dodge. You can dodge a Zerg army. You get the mine.
Yeah.
Well, that's army is going to take out not really an important base with one of a lot of SCVs.
It's killing a lot of like INnoVation's auxiliary production, so we're starting to see that hurt him here a little bit, especially with these fungals hitting. Oh my gosh.
Those are pretty important fungals. The command center strip goes down. He has to be careful about losing orbitals. He's a little too lazy about it. Could be problems, but he's just running further and further into more army, but he's actually trying to run out here. It's not consolidated. He's now down 40-50 army supply, and Impact might have just busted INnoVation.
I don't know. It's going to be really tough to actually get a killing blow here, but he is dealing a lot of damage. There's no doubt about it.
This Liberator is, for some reason, getting all its free shots. INnoVation still is mining off of 3 very healthy bases. He just needs time to produce. But that's exactly what Impact's looking to stop happening. He's trying to reinforce directly with Lings and Ultras. Now taking out this base. Again, Orbital's going down. It can start to really add up, and this one's going to die.
I love the beauty of the building armor, by the way. Not a lot of people go for it, but it's taken a long time to kill anything because of it. Otherwise, Impact would have run through these bases, Adrenal Glands plus 3 melee, like, you just tear through those buildings like nothing at all.
Yeah, definitely true. Unfortunately, no missile turrets here, not going to be able to support the planetary, and INnoVation, now losing his important mining bases, has only recently gotten up to a decent-looking army to try and take this on. Still down 20 overall supply, however. Overall army supply, rather. It's looking like this was a fatal blow. In one fell swoop, he killed all of Impact, or INnoVation's economy, and most of his army.
What's really sucked for INnoVation here as well is he's been forced to abandon these bases. Obviously, he didn't want to have to give any of this up, but he knew that if he went in, it'd be too little. So he had to really bulk up his forces, and that production tab is just looking mighty small right now.
Yeah, he's down to 2 orbitals and a planetary. That is not going to take him to the late game anymore. And Impact, meanwhile, has expanded all to the north side. INnoVation was very unsuccessful in stopping the expansion process of Impact. He's been going for main engagements, and that was working for a while until he just wasn't prepared for this one particular attack. It wasn't really a run-by, because it was literally all of Impact's army. Just call it a run-by.
Well, so for me, part of this goes back to the whole Liberator dynamic. There's too many Liberators and not enough diversity.
Yeah, I mean, they kept that really was a snowball effect. It wasn't just command centers going down, which was obviously a big problem. It was also like INnoVation constantly was caught with 2 Liberators and 5 Marauders. 2 Liberators, 5, like, and that was the army that was trying to hold on every time, as opposed to 10 Liberators and 20 Marauders, which up until minute 23 was the case. In the last 2 minutes, wasn't, and now he's dead.
Well, I like it because that's going to tie up the series. We've had a lot of 2-0s today, but if Impact can keep this momentum rolling and get a killing blow here, we'll go to game 3.
Yeah, it's going to happen. INnoVation probably frustrated when you got so many bases, when they become planetaries. I think there is, a lot of Terrans to just be like, okay, I got this, right? But Impact, by just circumventing, not getting baited into this position over and over again, he played the smart game. Kind of brute force.
Some of chat is, of course, asking, like, would Ghosts and Snipes have helped? And the question is, without a doubt, an answer of yes, they would have been amazing. Like, a lot of these Liberators wouldn't have to reposition if these Corruptors were dead because they got sniped while they were, like, way out of range, or if the Ultras weren't pressuring on the ground. There's a lot of what-ifs that revolve around, like, 5 Ghosts maybe changing this game entirely, but INnoVation did not want to go Ghosts. He had a Ghost Academy and everything.
It might have been a case of he didn't think he could. Because when the Ghost Academy died, it wasn't just the Ghost Academy. It was also like 20 SCVs and an orbital. So he had to replace a lot of army, and his bank wasn't as high as it was when he started that Ghost Academy. This is the last engagements, for sure.
The Last Supper. You would know all about those.
There's one more guy that initials a JC that ended up getting backstabbed in history, and I forget who it was.
JF Sanity?
No.
All right, that ties things up 1-1. As said, guys, we're gonna pop to a quick commercial break. We'll see you in 2 minutes for the winner of the series. Okay, we're back and we're hopping into game number 3 with things tied up 1-1. Spawning in the upper left, we do have the orange Zerg player, Impact.
In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, it is INnoVation.
I already guessed Julius Caesar, guys. This is like my first one. And then Jesus Christ, and then, I don't know, what's the third JC?
There definitely was one, because I remember learning about it in school, and just, that was when I realized how many JCs had gotten backstabbed in history.
JC Penny? Business partner sold him out? I don't know.
No, not quite.
Oh, so I know it's not like an American-only thing, but I've still never seen one of these in Canada. But for lunch today, we went to get sushi, and it was at this, like, what was it called? Like a treadmill thing? Conveyor belt. There was a conveyor belt with all the sushi going around. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a Japan-only thing. I don't know.
No, I mean, well, Korea had one. I thought I mentioned, I didn't actually get to take you to one, though. It's their most popular in Japan. But I was really excited to see Korea had one, just like I was talking about it. I also think they're really cool. And I think it's becoming more and more popular in America, too, because our super huge mall has one. But it's like, I feel like when everything comes to America, it always starts off kind of like fast foody, you know what I mean? Like, when Korean food gets popular, it becomes like this like fast food taco shit that really annoys me. That's not even true, like whatever anyways. And the sushi conveyor belt thing is the same.
Ooh.
Where like they aren't even very good sushi, but it's conveyor belt, so it's cool.
Thank God he made a Reaper, by the way. If he had skipped this could have actually been really bad. In fact, oh, just he missed the links?
So, yeah, it's actually going for 2 Marines, for instance, over a Reaper. It might have been actually better, but he goes for a Marine after Reaper, which is at least somewhat helpful.
Oh my God. And Impact plays like kind of greedy behind the scene, and I really love it. Like, right, he takes the 3rd hatchery so quickly. 1 SCV segmented, or 1 link segmented off to kill the SCV. 2 will chase the Marine away. The others will do some damage. It's all annoying. INnoVation should be able to keep this from killing the command center, but he had to pull workers for it. He had to bring the Reaper back home for this. And Impact's certainly getting his kills worth out of these lings. Oh my God.
If they don't react, if they don't have that Marine, if they don't pull the SCVs, command center cancel can even go down, but when you pull the SCVs, then you just risk maybe losing 5 of them. Again, that Marine did help quite a bit. A little bit of extra micro, save 2 SCVs. 1 SCV. God,
I mean, he did a good job pulling them around, playing around the Rosie with them and stuff, but yeah, 6 links, 4 SCVs, a sold-out command center, and a Marine. This was a pretty good early pull from Impact. Granted, this wasn't like a big all-in, though, because as we pointed out, 3 hatcheries behind it. Still might turn it into one if he's feeling like it, but right now he is droning.
That was a worthwhile opener. INnoVation is going to be looking for revenge, perhaps with a Hellion run by. At the very least, he forces Impact to make links to defend against the Hellions.
And these are links without speed, unfortunately. So it's primarily the Queens that'll do the heavy lifting here. It's going to be able to push it back. Good creep spread between the bases will mean those Queens can actually walk from base to fight. Without it, it's a real chore. Oh, parks him over here. Not a lot for them to do. Viking coming out next. Pick off that Overlord that's been sitting in his base. Maybe two of them.
Yeah, Viking could be opening up pathways for future drops. And Overlord gets in before the Viking is done and sees that that's, well, going to be a Viking. First of all, it's going to kill it, but then also it still has a tech lab, so it could be into Banshees or Raven. It is Abyssal Reef, and it was INnoVation's map choice. Raven's pretty popular on this map. At least it gets in for a nice scout.
There's those aliens.
Hey.
Quick Blast takes out a lot of drones, and INnoVation is racking up the kills here.
Yeah, this is really nice. He needed this from that opener and then got even a little bit more than expected. 12 plus the medevac and Hellions lived.
For now, tries to focus it down, realizes it's not going to happen. Trades out for some Lings on the way out too. Still not too shabby, but Impact just sticks to drone and he's not scared about this whatsoever. And yeah, no panic for extra Lings. This is good. This helps maintain the drone lead and of course makes up for the drones he lost.
Oh yeah. INnoVation sees on the way in base. It's getting to upgrades. I mean, Impact, it took damage, sure, and probably really frustrated that he did so much in the early game, only to have that happen anyways. But he's on his way to recovery. Fortunately, a little bit behind on upgrades, losing out on Bailey Nest timing. Actually thought that it was going to be Cloaked Banshees even. He's getting a bunch of Spore Crawlers, but he didn't use that tech lab on the starport for anything.
It's like Liberator Rain. Never mind. That didn't work out so well.
No, it did not. No.
One little scouting Ling sees nothing. I guess like you know a Terran's gonna have a third at this point. It's just a question of like whether it's moved over or not. So it's kind of always looking for, and he will just see this barely. Surprise INnoVation's letting that Ling sit there, but I guess it's slightly out of vision. Not anymore, but still. All right. Well, the question for Impact is then can he deal with the attack that's coming? INnoVation actually has a not super duper strong attack, right? This isn't matched up with amazing upgrades, and of course it's still a lot of Hellions. But not mech-worthy Hellions.
No, 6 is still a reasonable number for Bio. Although we had INnoVation stop at 2 in the first game and then 4 in the second game. It's increasing every time. They were his only defense for so long while his production was getting set up. And now they have a distraction as he drops the main, only with a single medevac though.
Yeah, I thought the Hellions were going to go in for sure paired up with that. Guess not. Still has them alive though, so it goes back for round 2 here in just a sec. And of course, this Hellions are just cleaning up creep. Yeah, that's a classic Terran thing to do. Impact actually, for whatever reason, would have a lot of luck with that too, from what I recall. He would get a lot of medevacs with Spore Crawlers and make me go like, why?
There's one talent, it's a superpower that really didn't translate into any wins.
Hey man, if it's like a passive quirk that no one else has, I'll take it.
What is your passive quirk in StarCraft, Rifkin?
The ability to sometimes win stupid games through cheese that I shouldn't be able to win.
Yeah. Sorry, the quirk. That's not enough.
You're right, that's just skill, baby.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, well.
Oh, we're gonna have Overlord
push.
drops, by the way.
That we are. Impact has been loving Overload drops versus Terran, and they've been somewhat effective. Well, we saw it on Acolyte, killed a handful of SCVs.
I think he knows how to use them well, and that's why it's worth going for. It's such an inexpensive investment to possibly kill like a whole SCV line, but man, both players have so many workers. INnoVation can afford to lose some SCVs here, and it's not going to hurt him too bad. As long as he doesn't lose too many, but the attack on the front line's a little bit weak. It's not hitting much. The Bailey's on creep are too fast for INnoVation. I'll get that first drop going in.
Oh, it's on a natural. Nope. Pretty good hits. Now third base should be reacted to. Ah, yeah, the Marines got it.
I love that he actually kept some Zerglings out there to execute the last couple of SCVs. 12 go down for that. That's not bad at all, but again, it's still not that much of the grand scheme of things. INnoVation's fine. Front line, though, might not be. The tanks actually were supposed to focus to the banelings. They don't get that many shots on them, so these roll through to the bio, and there's not enough bio to take on the Hydras.
So, they're so close to dying. Yeah, unfortunately. A little bit too close to those banelings, and right, you cannot take on the Hydras. I mean, that took a long time to reach the back two tanks, and if INnoVation had that third sieged up on the low ground, well, then maybe that's a little too much. But he definitely got caught rallying while he was paying attention to trying to clean up the mess the banelings made.
Yeah, there's a potential for that to be way worse than it was, but here we are like 10 minutes in the game, and there's barely any resources lost, despite, like, I guess both players got some really cool worker damage in, but that was the majority of the game, really.
This thing is important to note, by the way, that he did go for tanks. I mean, this is part Abyssal Reef being tanks, and also deciding that he needed splash from last game, perhaps. The last game was very splashless, tried to go quickly on the Liberators. Almost works.
I like the tanks a lot to help deal with the Hydras. I think it's very important to have them. I mean, we've seen players still try and make Widowmites work because I think a lot of the focus goes on the banelings, but really these tanks will serve that dual purpose, and if done well and positioned correctly, it should be good. I love this positioning, for example.
Yeah, totally defensive, and if the rocks are broken down, they would be out of position. Impact doesn't get around to that yet.
Starbucks are still low from earlier, and 2 Lings looking to execute what little ones there are now. So 8 workers go down.
Surprisingly, those 2 Lings do very much else.
I turned them into banelings. I'm surprised he actually got this out of there. I don't think Zerg know how to do that.
Oh. There is a definitely large force for Impact on that right side. Only a supply depot wall holding that back. Decides not to go to the third base, but now go for the rocks.
That or he's getting AI'd over it. I think you just got AI'd over it because he goes back.
Exactly like that was the case.
Alright, well, he's going to bust the wall. This is the easy part. He's fighting the bio afterwards. It's not quite so easy. Realizing how much of it there is, he starts falling back, but INnoVation was coming from the backside, and he's going to catch some of this. He's not going to kill a lot, but get some of the Hydras, which would be nice.
It's kind of flipped on its head a little bit. Impact now desperately running away. Hydras, be careful about that. Do join up with Lings and Banelings.
You know, they got that, was it the Entangle ability coming out, right? That's going to bring the air units down. Kind of reminds me a little bit of concussive shells, honestly. Like, it helps you catch the unit to kill it.
It does have those hints. I also think that everyone's just saying that it's a... Oh no, what were they? Not Wolf Riders. Shoot.
Oh, Raiders. Or whatever.
Raiders, there we go. Raiders. Wolf Riders.
Yeah, well, they were Wolf Riders.
That's what I'm gonna call it. I mean, so a lot of units in Warcraft rode wolves. That's kind of the worst thing.
Well, I think of the Diamondback, I guess, less than the Raider, but you're right.
Who's the Diamondback?
Or Stukov's Diamondbacks, excuse me.
Oh, I was so confused. Well, anyways, that engagement didn't go so well for Impact, who had to retreat. Chester is a little far behind. Now INnoVation taking the momentum and pushing forward, once again finding that cliff edge, this time with double the tanks.
Someone's saying there's a little bit of audio desync. Does anyone else see that? I'm just going to double check, because of course I can't check on my own, but curiosity, never killed this cat. Actually, that's wrong. We've totally broken the stream so many times for me fiddling, so I'm not going to fiddle. This engagement point's a little bit scary. You got the Infestors coming from the backside, a couple of Infested Terrans coming down. Hydra's getting some okay damage, and Impact's trying to concave on this, but Liberators and tanks are making this very difficult for him. His army supply has pretty much disappeared at this point, and I feel like that's all she wrote.
I think so. Almost doubling the army supply. That is pretty bad news for Impact, who is also out of fungals. Really nothing going his way anymore.
I mean, I feel like this game was a weird game. He chose to start it off with the aggression, and that's not what killed him here. It was INnoVation's late game, the tanks, the half splash damage. It was just like an element that Impact was like, oh, right, you're going to have that.
Yeah, I mean, him taking so much damage with those earlier Hellions made up for that early game, in fact. And you got the late game okay, it was just the engagements. GG.
I love the blinding clouds at the end, but it just came too late, unfortunately.
Say hi, no. Nugget.
Oh, we got the cat cam. Hi, Nuggets.
Never jumps up on my lap.
She kind of looks like she has blue pants on right now because the light. Now yellow pants. She's matching. You guys are twinsies.
Yeah, she's got a collar on now.
All right, so that'll send us to the other semifinals, which will be a PvP actually of Zest versus Classic. Winner will go on to fight against INnoVation in the grand finals. We're gonna go to break though. We'll see you guys here in a few minutes, and see you later, Nugget.